Artia itetoluna mananesta foi miuva ndray ny filalondrana Zimbabwe manlona Kenya satria raha taminitsika zao nanao tamina kantoso na natao melena mananesta fa eto izy tonga dia mitsapa vetrany ny isa telo artia inga tambora.
Well, hoping you're still glued to NTV as we bring you this Confederation of African Rugby final, a match between Kenya and Zimbabwe, coming to you from Madagascar and courtesy of TV Madagascar. And the current scoreline, Kenya is leading 12-5.
Yeah, but what has happened now is that, I mean, Zimbabwe has come into the game growing into a bit of confidence and forced an error on Kenya. And now the score is now 12-8. So, game on. It's game on and looking dangerous now because Zimbabwe, when they played Madagascar in the semi-final, they were actually trailing at some point. Yes, they trailed 18 points to 10 at halftime. And they came back to the game to actually go ahead and win it. Yes, I mean, so definitely they have no issues of fitness or anything like that. But Kenya would do well to go back into this game right now, force a bit of possession because I mean, the last like 3 or 4 minutes, I mean, it's been everything Zimbabwe. Get the ball into Zimbabwe's half and keep it there. Yes. And they're attacking right from there. Yeah. Now Kenya has to come up. Kenya has to come up and make those tackles count. They're really pushing it and hoping to get an advantage on the blind side as they did for that one try they scored. Well, clearly what Zimbabwe tends to is attempting to do here is that they're trying to play the ball a bit, I mean, many times inside, 2 or 3 faces inside, and then now to release their definitely quick backs. One of the things that we are sort of being caught flat-foot. We're looking like you're not going up in defense, and whenever the tackle comes, we are bringing the Zimbabweans to our side rather than taking them right back towards their try line. And now this is the other very remarkable thing about Madagascar. The attendance. The attendance is always very, very... closed in very fast, you know, give him a chance maybe even to kick it out. Yeah. Or into the other half. Our guys are looking quite strong on the contact. Which is impressive. I have watched in some few years back, the 15s rugby had been struggling. Yes. And I must say, these young lads that... But this year's preparation has been quite... The preparation has been quite quite good. Starting right at the beginning of the year and going all the way to South Africa, Western Province and stuff like that. So... And it's a project the KRU has actually been working on, actually saying that the 7s team is up there with the big boys. It's time now to give a bit of more attention to the 15s team and also try pull it up. And I think we're in the step. This is a step in the right direction. Absolutely. Because probably if we were to win this, that means we will be having an upper hand going into next year's Africa Cup. I think next year is a different kettle of fish because one season will have ended and it will be a matter of starting all over again. You know, starting the whole cycle of conditioning, strength and conditioning all over again. The whole cycle of tactical planning and so on and so forth. And depending on where Kenya is, I mean, if Kenya wins, then Kenya meets Namibia, and if it doesn't, then it meets the winner of the 3-4. Curiously saying, is it what KRU should be doing, that once the season is over, should they take a break or should they try at least a monthly match? No, I mean, there's exposure. When the season is over, there's got to be time to just rest. Typically, what is prescribed is 4 weeks, no rugby, you know. Then after that, you just start the whole process all over again. But what will it take? I'm sure it will be a bit ambitious and Kenya looking dangerous there. Oh, yeah, but a loose pass of Ayodi. Oh, Agevi with a blind pass. Overhead. Try to put an overhead pass. Which is pretty much dangerous sometimes. I mean, it was an uncertain, it was a 50-50 pass, so we cannot tell what It's just getting a bit loose on the set pieces, because I mean that looked like a clear, I mean, ball Kenya had won, and all we needed to do is control it. I mean, some of these things eventually come to bite.
Some of the errors the Kenyan team is making, some of them necessarily not even forced by the opponents.
Yeah, no, that's a totally unforced error. But what I like is that they have come to play. There's definitely no question about that.
Yes, and it was remarkable going 2 tries up. One of them converted as early as 10 minutes into the game.
That's how you start. It's a really messy scrum, eh? And Kenya wins it.
And it gets physical sometimes.
Yeah, you know, it's an international, for crying out loud. A bit of jostling here and there, so that everybody reminds everybody that they are in town. Sort of thing that the Kangede brothers really like to do. They really like to get into that kind of mix.
Getting in there.
Yeah.
Not really violent, but just trying to...
It's a bit of a jostle.
Who's the bigger man? I don't think the picture quality is that bad. We can
not anymore. Not anymore.
We can actually tell the faces of the players.
Yes.
And we can actually catch the action.
Yeah. No, not anymore. I mean, it's a lot better now.
There's so many Kenyan fans out there really eager to see their 15th team actually go ahead and win this.
Yeah. It's actually a good scrum, eh? Big drive of Ayudi. The penalty there for not releasing.
And it's a beautiful city, the Antananarivo, with the stadium set just below a hill. And the fans are actually coming out in.
No, they totally love rugby. I mean, they'll get on any day of an international, they'll get more people coming out to watch the internationals that you find in Kenya. So there's a rich rugby tradition there. I mean, they celebrated the centennial, I think, about 5 years ago. So 100 years of rugby.
It is amazing.
Yeah, but you can check. I mean, just because the final is not involving Madagascar, you can see today, you can see gaps within the spectatorship.
Actually, the match that was during the weekday and the pictures that came through from Madagascar showed a really packed stadium.
It was a really packed stadium.
On a weekday.
On a weekday.
It was impressive.
For a 12:30 match, I mean. So Andola misses that.
But Zimbabwe looks like they're coming into the game strongly.
I mean, there's been a bit of a lull in the last 3 minutes or so from the Zimbabwe side, where you can see we've been attacking more and more. But that was a particularly good scrum. If you can retain that kind of structure within our set piece, then you can be sure that there's a lot coming. Cyprian Kuto.
Many people will be asking, why would the player run into the crowd and maybe not create space for himself?
Well, I mean, it just depends on where he's sensed. I think he wanted to play a bit more closer to his forwards, but he didn't quite get the ball down. I mean, he went up a bit high and... This is where Kenya needs to be disruptive again, like they were in the last scrum that was Zimbabwe's.
Indeed. The blind side once again.
Yeah, looks like they have every intention to go blindside. And you know, Ndlovu is quite a good number 8. Very experienced. He's been at this for a very long time. So
that's the number 8.
Yes.
Jabulo Ndlovu.
Yes.
I don't know what you would say of the Zimbabwe side.
I mean, it's a mix. It's generally, it looks a new team. I mean, because quite a number of these people are, I think, out on their more or less first assignment. Offside line. We're going to have to keep our discipline on those contact situations.
Sport de contact, il a le rugby, sainga le contact avec le rugby, non mais n'est-ce pas? T'es à misfitsipka mazava, on fait un âge, à l'eftsipka me fait un détail de rugby, je refais, t'es là où à cap comme ni t'es là la crête, risaka sécurité, risaka tifana tana, puis la loi, là m'a fait un l'eftsipka en détail de rugby.
Maro zena mana izitora, ndab namu zamle tewa dia. Vienne na lawa milema mtraveu Kenya milio mrombo kumekata amtraveu tempanta do Zimbabwe na misa milizan
otona ya zanitatsika somary manao randrany zany rasta ozytsika remsisleri apitra bola lasa bola ady votosika aloha miodina aloha zany de mandeha miodina lemele ady milany am'Kenya eny amin'ny otona rodola manandrana amin'ny drope mahitsy ady maty dia 12 Kenya raika ambe folo kosa i Zimbabwe any amin'ny tafatero amin'ny telopolo any no misy zany drope tsaratsara ny $1 zany na manana.
It's getting tougher.
Ary dia 12 no raika ambe folo misy amin'ny lala famaranana.
We see Kenya now leading 15-11. Maybe you can bring us up to date as to what happened, the scoreline.
There was a bit of a lull. What has happened is that Zimbabwe, after a series of attacks, Kenya was found offside on one case and on the other case not releasing. And so what has ended up happening is that they brought their score right up to 12-11. But at the first opportunity of Kenya going into Zimbabwean territory, very close to the red zone, Andola puts in 3, and it then becomes a quick reply to what Zimbabwe is doing. Very, very good response by Kenya.
Indeed. Beautiful. It's the same thing you noted earlier. Release the ball fast and early.
Yeah.
Giving the players time maybe to react and reorganize themselves at the back.
Absolutely. You see, the thing is that every time you react quickly, every time you create the space and use it quickly, the defense is probably going to to be napping. But whenever you take time with the ball, it means that the defense reorganizes.
Indeed, Zimbabwe coming really strongly in this final, and Kenya looking very fit and strong and getting organized by the minute.
Yeah, the defensive operation is actually quite good.
Was that a front? Ah, thank you.
Well, Zimbabwe are putting on the pace on the ball now. They're putting on the pace.
And I see if you move the ball faster, you also get a momentum and you keep running the ball.
Absolutely.
Kenya got
ball out quickly, receiving the ball at pace, and you always breach the defense line. You always breach the gain line. I'm not sure I understand.
It's a dangerous place for Kenya to be in at the moment. And you see a very organized Zimbabwe attack there.
Yeah. You can see you can see the step back rather than the step up to make the tackle. You know? And it's just by sheer strength that they take him right back. But they should, I mean, if that action came a little earlier, then you're almost certain that there would have been more Kenyans becoming problematic. I mean, or closing that space that Zimbabwe had. They're also playing quite deep from the defense line.
There's a point that looked.
Yeah, that looked a bit forward.
Yes.
But anyway, we only play what the referee calls.
Indeed.
And it's very surprising that it's Kangeve who's making the chase there. You wonder where the back row has gone to.
Again,
the child does a very good. There's 2 of them tackling. I mean, that was very, very unlucky for Zimbabwe.
Lucky for Kenya.
And lucky for Kenya.
Someone will say that pressure actually helped Kenya there.
Absolutely.
Keep the pressure against Zimbabwe, and we're likely to go ahead and actually defend well. Oh, they lose the ball.
Yeah, that ball protection from Kenya has to improve.
It's going into the break. Kenya needs to go with that lead.
asa hoe ahoana ataon'olo volo fa raha tamintsika aloha zao dia vakina fotsiny lalahany tsy avoaka ny bolova dia tazominay troisième centre goava be nde tsy mabiany hoe tazomin-drona volo asa aloha fa dia Ziglar dia miverina ty aboady zany izy zao dia manao compétition troakazany teo amin'ny betangy red rose Masiza any amin'ny volo goava be va dia tsy afaka aloha lany amin'ireo Zimbabweanina ihany Masiza rode dia mandeha ty amin'ny tamboera zay efa somary avy fotsy sabola
alefa
filalao
izay tokony misa zany atao dia tsy maintsy avadika isa matenampona deo fa tsy moramora ny manapitra isy ao amin'ilay Kenyana ndraiky vatanao ndraiky hoe samby bava mbera fa tsy dia somary kely tatsika gasy
ya dia hita hoe rehefa mety isa dia tsapaina dolo namana mestre tena nytian'ny tambora ihany ty kavy be mihitsy raha namana dia tsy isola namany angamaloha miandaka nyty penalité ty lasa midaka ny tambora ary dia maty somasomatsara dinandra folo Kenya efatra amby folo kosa Zimbabwe amin'ny kilalao famaranana kanina telo amby folo sy roa arivo groupe Haïtia any amin'ny efapolo minitra aty amin'ny chronomètre nasinaizy taty misy azy amin'ny pénalité maty ny tamboraty zany dia matakatra ihany koa ny isan'ny Zimbabweana dia raisy isa menanelana eo tota mbola iova aveo izy io mialohan'ny mialana sasatra kely fa dia lasa aloha coup d'envoi lavitra dia lavitra tokoa any amin'ny boîte any amin'ny boîte avantage any dia Kenyana tsy misy moa zany nana vao satria dia tany amin'ny namana mesta dia mandeha any amin'ny otena lala amin'izareo Kenyana ihany ele spontané any amin'ny otena misy pénalité zany nazy zany tia anavava dia misy mpilalao Zimbabweana mainky akan'le baolina teo namana mesta tsy azo zany le baolina tsy diso anefa nisy tamin'ny fangalanan'le baolina zany
It's become a lot clearer that it's something that we have done.
Dimy folo Kenya efatra amby folo kosa Zimbabwe taria fitirana voalohany milalao famaranana kanina telo amby folo sy arivo
Well, Zimbabwe with an extra 3 points there, getting closer 15-14 at the break. Would you say that Zimbabwe is actually going to come back into this game straight?
No, they're already in the game for sure. I mean, they are keen. They are running off the collision points very well. They're in the game. And it's a big game. It's a final. It's a final for Africa Cup. So you would expect there to be a lot of excitement on both sides running out in second half.
Well, thank you. I'm sure you have been staying with us here on NTV Kenya with this live match from Madagascar, where Kenya is actually taking on Zimbabwe. And at the moment, they are on the halftime break, and Kenya is leading 15-14 to Zimbabwe. Well, and in studio I am joined by Fred Oloz, rugby columnist with Sport On. Maybe, Fred Oloz, we have seen Kenya score very quick tries. 2 quick tries in the first 10 minutes of the game, and Zimbabwe seems to be clawing back into the game. What are the chances for the Lions in the second half?
No, I mean, the Lions only need to get organized. They need to put Zimbabwe under a bit more pressure. What I've noticed is clearly coming out is that Zimbabwe is off their breakdowns, coming from a bit far. So if we get, the defensive discipline, so that we go up together as a unit and just wait, because I've seen, twice or so we've been penalized because we are too eager. There's no problem. I mean, if you look carefully, what is happening is that Zimbabwe are coming from way too far, and therefore the only hope here is going to be a missed tackle. So all that needs to happen is that Kenya needs to be disciplined around the last foot and come up together as a unit and bottle Zimbabwe behind the gain line.
Of course, we know that the penalties and drop goals are equally important to the tries. But do you think a try maybe would ease the pressure just a bit?
No, any points. The simple rule is that whenever you get into the other team's last 30, you come out with 3, 5 or 7. So any score, so long as you're leading, keeping the scoreboard ticking always ensures that the other team, the team that is behind, is under pressure.
How would you describe the Zimbabwe side? Are they playing fast, defensive? What kind of rugby are they playing at the moment?
No, Zimbabwe are looking for the quickest opportunity to release their backs. Very quick guys. You saw Chitokwindo Tavadza at the World Cup running, at Collins and going right round. So they are looking for the opportunity to release their backs. But then they have a number of fantastic forwards, Yakov and then Gloveward, number 8, carrying the ball and trying to, breach the defense line. Well, one of the lucky things that has happened to this moment is that there's only been once when there's been a clear breach of Kenya's defense line, and as you saw, they scored. So that the Zimbabweans are trying to raise the pace of the game, and they're trying to ensure that they breach, they keep hitting in the middle, not in the middle, but in the forwards, and releasing their quick backs. But the ball is going so far back that if Kenya got their defense line up, they definitely close Zimbabwe out on, rather beyond the gain line.
So, will you need a pep talk maybe, or introduce new players in the second half? What will help more? No,
I think the smartest thing is to usually have at least 10 minutes of the same guys trying to do the things that they have been doing. But then after that, now you start, depending on what the tactics are, or, do you want to increase the pace of the game? Do you want to slow it down? And do you want to raise the physical contact tempo and things like that? So at least 10 minutes, keep the guys. And then after that, now, depending on what the situation looks like, get on with it.
The blind side. We're always getting Zimbabwe getting us from the blind side, and Kenyans seem to be caught, to always be caught off guard.
What is happening is that that blindside issue is more back to the same thing that Zimbabwe are trying to do. They seem to feel that they have got a lot more pace than Kenya, and obviously it takes longer to react on the blind side. So that's why you're seeing that happening. But part of the thing that is helping their cause is that number 6 Okombe is taking long to get off the ground whenever it is that they are covering that side, or the left side where a lot of the blind action has been.
And will you say that maybe the Kenyan side has actually come of age? We have seen Kenya struggle against Uganda in the recent past in the Elgon Cup, but most recently we have seen them lose at home, go ahead and actually win, beat Uganda and lift the Elgon Cup in Kampala. What will you say about this 15th team?
No, the 15th team is coming together, but it's a program that has to be sustained for a while. It's something that must happen for a bit of a long time, so that we have 2 or 3 cycles of the same intensity going in, on and on for some time.
Well, we can go through the starting lineup that Jerome Pawota opted for. Joseph Kangede. What will you say of Joseph Kangede and his brother?
The two of them are very good in the loose plays. They're quite good. But what I'm seeing is that there's a clear improvement even in their forwards, in their scrummaging today. But generally what has tended to happen is that they have been preferred many times simply because of their loose play. They've struggled to get their fitness back. I can see there's quite a bit of that. You saw Joseph making trying to cross cover where Bakros should have been the one doing. So they bring quite a lot in terms of weight, in terms of strength. And now I can see what has been a problem. They have added scrummaging.
What about the likes of Brian Nyukuli in this squad? He's a regular in the team.
He's been around for a while, but Nyukuli seems to be coasting now. In the sense that you wouldn't expect too much to happen in terms of his improving. But definitely a useful player to have on the team. Definitely a proper guy in terms of motivating guys. You saw that at the beginning of the season he was the one who ran out as captain. So leadership is definitely one of the things that he brings in.
Of the 15 players on the pitch, who would you say is likely to be the game changer? We know Wilson Kopondo is quite charismatic to the players, and he has the armband.
There's quite a few guys here who can change the game. There's Wilson Kopondo, there's Joshua Chisanga, there is Vincent Mose. You saw the break that he had out there. It's just that there was no support and we ended up losing the ball. There are very many game changers here. It's just a question of when the opportunity will present itself that we will see who it is that takes it. Already we have Baraza taking one opportunity and Chisanga taking another. Chisanga is one of the young players coming right through. And so, to my mind, lots of players here can actually turn it.
What of the reserves now? Who will maybe Jerome Pawota bring in? We saw Amonde and Orlando come in the game against Uganda and scored 2 tries in the second half.
Scored 1, but there's all manner. It depends. I think here. There's Ronnie Mwenesi, there's Andrew Amonde, of course, and then there is the whole front row. So it is a question of at what point Jerome will introduce this gentleman. But otherwise, there's all manner of fellows who can give us value in this bench.
Well, can we say that Kenya has finally come back and reclaimed our regional supremacy?
No, there's no question about that. The East African supremacy was always a matter of us not having concentrated enough. But there's no question about who plays the better rugby, who has the better structures, who has the... I mean, it's for a long time, it's been very interesting that we beat Uganda at the school level, we beat them at the Super Series level. I'm sure if the clubs play, they beat them. But then the national, nothing happens. So it's just a return to parity.
Would you say maybe that the dream for the Rugby World Cup in 2015 is actually coming to reality?
I think we can get there. I think we can get there. But it will involve a lot of work. And it's a 1 year's job from the time, from the end of this tournament today to next year's 1A. And just to make a mention, it would be important that we go for... It would be important that we go for the hosting of this particular tournament.
Well, indeed, this is the Confederation of African Rugby final, Division 1A final, and Kenya is against Zimbabwe. Is actually on the break right now, and Kenya is leading by 1 point, 15-14. Is it a scoreline that maybe describes what kind of match it has been?
Absolutely, absolutely. Kenya started well, and Zimbabwe came back in. And the only thing is that, I mean, Zimbabwe has scored how many points off the boot? They've scored 5 plus 2 penalties off the boot. 3 penalties off the boot, and that shows you what needs to, one of the things that needs to improve from Kenya's approach in second half.
Well, there has been plenty of interaction. I'm sure you have been following your followers on Twitter, and I don't know what they have been saying, because I know mine has been very busy, and maybe you can pick out a couple of some of the guys who have been communicating to you on your Twitter page, because
at Alvas, we switched on to see a wrestling match and a rugby game broke out. Definitely one of the more interesting tweets. But the game is underway, and Kenya started with some sprite again. Only we've conceded a penalty.
That's it. Guys are here and encouraging us maybe to keep talking, because some of them do not understand the language, and the game is currently underway. That's the second half of the Confederation of African Rugby Division 1A final, a match between Zimbabwe and Kenya. Kenya leading 15 and Zimbabwe has 14. It is a game that maybe we expect Kenya really to come back into it, to motivate them and try get tries into the scoreline.
That?
Get Kenya score tries, change that scoreline, maybe ease some pressure.
Yes, I mean, I know that one of the things that Kenya will be doing right now is to start just the way that they started in the first half. And clearly that's happening from a territorial point of view.
Simtunda lui de minzere.
Minzera simtunda.
Tata mflakas de minzere bondo. Au de minzera de spotane.
Oteno, angana lu pola wandro Kenyan.
De latsak.
Latsaka pol.
Pas wani Zimbabwe.
Na latsaki o kumbe in larna fayin na Kenyan na. Yatsi sistu wandro Zimbabwe na mona de fala pola te de amferna. Amlaya anafawa ni tsara inja Loresa Van der Merwezania, Zafati Africa Chimwa, Ampini, Njatu Zanara, Kutmalala, Ptsara Madagascar, Si, Nena, Zafmamunja, Mulaptsara, Vietwa, Madagascar, Yankua, Massiza, Nimana, Pitfantipola, Amtia, Meleitia, Lasan Pakan Massiza, Lasan Kenyan, Pol, Famishin.
somary mihoatra ny midina le mele hoe tsy mirafitra tsara namana izy itory dia miverina
miverina dia mbola inga Masiza izay demi de mêlée an'ity équipe zimbabweanina tonga teto Madagasikara tia no ampiditra amin'ny baolina. Zay hita le baiko telo dia miditra amin'ny baolina amin'ny lalana Masiza tsy mihetsika aloha zany zany namana nesta Ndovu tena matanjaka tokoa namana nesta izy spontané lany andrano Zimbabweanina any baolina aloha Masiza lana fa 2-0 taka baolina le Montréal Tambera iny dia tsisy olana koa fandraisan'ny mpilalao Keniana angana dia angana samy tsofoka avy etrano lana fa 2-0 iny Mose lana andrano Keniana ihany
surnombre aloha izy ihany tara ny fandraisana baolina
tara zany ohatra misy pasa
zay voalatsaka nafatra
mahatonga zany namana nesta dia sur place lay mpilalao no mipasy maniky baolina fa tsy mihazakazaka
dia nama mandeha dia lasa aloha rehefa
lasa aloha i Brian zao le larana raiky faraky ambe folo taona namana nesta dia mipetraka le namany nefa mihazakazaka dia somary itsika moa etevony aty mahita otrany hoe passe avant zany sangambo tsara kosa ya Lawrence eny ambany eny dia mahita hoe tsy misy ny passe avant ary moa dia mazava be ny fitsipika raha ilalao taranja ara-panatanjahantena anao na inona indrindra fa ny taranja rugby dia mila mahay an'le fitsipika voalohany tokony hoay na tsy mamaky boky anao na tsy manao inona dia le fitsipika voalohany dia zao hoe ny fanapahan-kevitry tsara dia tokony hotoavina namana nesta na inona fomba fijerinao na fomba fahitanao zavatra zay mitranga teny zany dia ny fanapahan-kevitry tsara dia tsy maintsy hoekena zany fa dia lasa aloha meleto introduction amin'ny alala Masiza hatrany any amin'ny bode culture anyreto dia any amin'ny Mandioma larina fahenina ambe folo spontané Masiza any amin'ny Rose dia verina mihitsy aloha Rose le spontané ihany Masiza bode dia any amin'ny Mandioma ty talonneur-ndrareo Zimbabweanina ty namana nesta dia ty mipetraka eo nenanena 10-12 zany izy fanafeny fanakaiky sao teo dia hitatsika foana fa izy no lasa manao hoe premier centre
lasasankeny any baolina
Oteno dia ty amin'ny sisiny aty lana fa 2-0 Mose dia ty amin'ny lana fa 2-0 Baraza Oteno lana fa 3-0 ao aty mbola tsy verana aloha baolina fa andreo Keniana Oteno lana fa 10 Andola
fifandomana zany
dia taraiky Rose le miplaky aloha ty hitatsika taraiky teo dia baolina mitoy ihany ary amin'ny sisiny ary lasa otoy ihany ny baolina tsy mihandro marary Oteno dia mitady an'izy verina intérieur zany ve tena mety Rose sana dia efa même sens anaty ihany le izy Oteno zay vao mivoaka any amin'ny Andola dia any amin'ny Kangete iny Joseph Kangete le larina voalohany
surnombre izy ty aloha amin'izao
larina fa 2-0
passe croasia tsara tare zany
tsara vanty Mose mipetraka Oteno koa aloha dia tonga tsara any baolina mihitsy Andola larina fa efatra be i Kopondo zany hoavaka zany nesta dia mijery aloha Kopondo Oteno larina fa 7 Kito tsy vera aloha baolina hoarindrareo Keniana
tsy very ny baolina fa zay mitondra aloha dia minjera dia mile spontané dia mivoaka dia ohatra zay hatrany
Oteno atrandry dia mivoaka
ratsy ny tongotra contre-attaque ho an'ny Zimbabwe
dia lasa efa ty amin'ny fatriny efa politatra nalatindrareo Zimbabwe angana diaizany dia difitra ihany keo aloha Masiza tsy nahazo ihany keo body fa Tambera mahazo Jean Paul zany dia mandaka lavitra dia lavitra dia pasina ty amin'ny Mose larina fa 2-0 ty ihany keo dia lasa itolotra kely eo akaiky eo dia larina fa hitaka Kopondo menjery dia folo amina spontané hoarindrareo Oteno Keniana zany miditra
inona izy tsara reprise milalao
tongotra olo zany fa tsy tana faratarana io zany dia pénalité Oteno dia any amin'ny Kangete
dia baolina mandeha ihany
direct ary ihany tsika
James
Silihan kereta dia.
Fatiawan Zimbabwe
ka manaytaitra lalao tangoera takabia ty aloha ty place vita tsy misy olona mihitsy any tandrako mapilao Zimbabweanina ny tokaloha ay de tsy nandray ny filohan'ny liga manalamanga ny taranja rugby izany hitatsika manao akanjo maromaro zany manaraka tsara ny mpilalao ty ihany koa satria anisan'ny tanketsy amin'izay taranja rugby zay moa eto Analamanga angalana ireo ekipa milalao ao anatin'ireny ekipa pirenena reny na amin'ny sokajy rehetra io na ho an'ny senior lehilahy io na amin'ny junior lehilahy na sokajy vehivavy dia tanketsa ny eto Analamanga lalao asangany asanga fa dia manomboka manaytaitra aloha na mananesta ity lalao an'ny rototativa dia misy mpilalao kenianina miala zany kopondo ngamba ny ty le larina fefatra goava mety eo toy aloha ny lalao
latsaka amin'ny baolina
latsaka amin'ny baolina
manao navarotra reo
kenianina dia andreo Zimbabwe asa
ty le baolina tena mana Isidore aloha
iny
keny Zimbabweanina aloha
dia vao fitaky ny baolina ihany keo aloha izy dia nenjera ihany keo le larana fa fitoko tao saingy tia
sambotra teo
voaray tany amin'ny placage tany amin'ny sorta moa zany le mpilalao Zimbabweanina dia tsy nahita nomena baolina izy ary dia teo ihany keo ny azony keniana laina le baolina na manesta satria tsisy nininina io mbola nafika anankiray dia défenseur anankidimy tsy nisy baolina teo na mananesta tsisy nininina azona laina baolina ary dia niala ihany keo aloha ndovo dia iza ihany keo ty ohatran'ny mitana sofina miala ty na mananesta ohatran'ny namaivay iny roge iny ohatran'ny somary taraiky teo dia lasa aloha jerentsika somary memboatsika ihany moa iny mpilalao iny fa dia hojerentsika eo hoe iza ireny mpilalao miala fa le troisième ligne centre aloha ndovo aloha sura fa niala teo na mananesta dia any amin'ny bode Ziglara larina faharoa ambin'ny folo Ziglara ihany fona mele spontané Masiza bode dia pasy eo kaiky kely ihany dia manitsy be mihitsy tsisy eritreretina mihitsy aloha zany Masiza aingana dia aingana dia any amin'ny Ziglara ty larina faraiky ambin'ny folo any amin'ny pitika mero mandehibe mampatsiatsika asany kenianina baolina
ka voafolo aloha izy zany ao anatin'izany molina zany dia manosika Zimbabweanina
fa na izany anaty zany na tsy tavavoka reo na mananesta dia mivoka tosy mazava loatra ho an'ny Zimbabwe sa ho an'ny Kenya
tosy ho an'ny Zimbabwe no mitazona baolina farany teo
tosy ho an'ny Kenya
tosy ho an'ny Kenya
mbola ty amin'ny taniny aty manomboka manaytaitra ho zay teo satria dia nanole tomarika amin'ny mpanazatra inga njongona talonneur tia ekipan'ny Kenya ty no anipya izany tosy zany njongona nomana lasa tsy mitosy njongona dia difitra aloha le sauteur voalohany dia misy placage fa tsy ino izy nga Lawrence mipetraka ny tanany
latsaka navantana ny Kenya ny baolina somary sahirana aloha Kenya tao anatin'izay fotoana naharitraritra kezay na manaizy telo fa dia mitonga ato amin'ny ato ny baolina
saingy dia mbola tsy nisy maty ihany keo aloha na dia hoe mitongo zay ary zareo Zimbabwe dia mbola tsy nafaty mbola tsy nietsika ihany nisa namana Griffin satria dia mbola ilay 10 sevatra ambin'ny folo nisarahana teo am-pialatsasatra eto hatreto nisa eny amin'ny solaitra be ary dia Imasiza noa apititra n'ity baolina ty ho an'ny Zimbabwe zay hita ihany aloha hoe tsy mahita hirika manoloana nyreto Kenya reto ary dia mianjera aloha ary dia verina mitsangana satria dia nianjera ny première ligne ny ekipa rotota rehefa sala amin'izay izy na manesta tsy azo asina avantage mihitsy satria mety mitaozebera mbola manosika ny aty arena tsy maintsy tsofina kiroka verina mitsangana ny mpilalao rehetra ary dia ataondray ny mele ary mbola ny Zimbabwe any mampiditra ny baolina amin'ny alalany Masiza zay lasa ny commande anankitelo miditra ny baolina dia misinina zany franc
mbola tsisy ninona aloha mbola tsisy ninona fa mbola miverina mbola tsy mirafitra tsara ny mele
mbola tsisy ninina fa dia mbola mele ihany zany andrareo Zimbabweanina raha mbola misy fahadisoana kosa angamba ny eo mele eo dia andray fepetra amin'izay nga Lawrence hoe na eo resaka fivodonany tany io resaka possession ihany koa dia midomina sainga dia mbola tsy nahita isa mihitsy moa zareo fa nisy mpilalao keniana zany hitantsika zany miala ihany koa ary dia niditra ny laharana fa 20 Wamamba laharana 17 ary dile miala teo zany dia niditra ndray kosa i Wamamba zany hoe nanolo 3 quart centre zany zareo keniana satria dia enjakenjana ihany 3 quart centre reto Zimbabwe reto i Siglar dia lasa mibaolina ary amin'ny sisinery dia daka be any Mose iny mahita tosa tsy mahita Tambera mahazo amin'ny baolina zany Tambera miakatra moramora dia manome namany eo kaikeo langalanga ty aloha dia Bombo aloha zany Bombo zany dia contre-attaque ho an'ny Keniana mahavita lasa zareo Keniana efa tia mifatry 7 metatra miala ny ligne de but-ny Otenao mahazo amin'ny baolina zany dia manome any Wamamba le vao niditra teo iny petraka mena spontané Otenao tsy mbola mamoaka bola aloha Otenao fa mbola mijerijery Otenao ihany dia manome aty amin'ny Mose aty dia mandaka Rodoza larina fa 2 manome any Tambera larina fa 12 any zareo Zimbabweanina Tambera langalanga be zay le osolay ozy tsika aty amin'ny Mose aty marka nanao marka dia mazava loatra marka na arrêt de voler moa izy any tsy maintsy mikipika amin'ny baolina na mananesta
ya manao marka izy dia mahazo coup franc zany dia iny le mpilalao zay nicrie marka na mitady an'le baolina teo iny any iny tsy maintsy manao remise an'izay fa tsy azo lona hafa aloha
tsy Andola le nanao marka teo fa tsy Mose lasa nidakany Andola dia mahita tosy azo natao tosy rapide iny na mananesta satria coup franc izy iny
coup franc iny mazava ho azy fa amin'ny coup franc moa rehefa mivoaka tosy ny baolina dia an'ny mpifanandrona ny manipony tosy fa tsy mitokony tosy fa tsy ianao le nandaka azy fa raha penalité indray no mivoaka tosy dia ho an'le nandaka an'le penalité mivoaka tosy ihany no manipony tosy
larana fa 20 Kiamba le hitatsika mimakomana ny hiditra teo miala kosa ny larana fa 5 Manyany mpilalao any reto iny i Kiamba anisan'ny zay miditra moa ny reto Keniana reto na le Zimbabweanina na mananesta tsy teny an'izay foana hoe goavam-be daholo satria dia ty larana fa 5 Manyany ity ihany koa dia somary ohatran'ny miraikidraikitra zany aloha feany avy na izany na zany dia lava ranjana ny ranamana.
That's right. This is the Confederation of African Rugby Division 1 final match between Kenya and Zimbabwe. And this colonies, Kenya is leading 15-14 against Zimbabwe. And there has been a couple of changes, Fred. And maybe you can bring us up to date on some of the changes that has taken place.
One change that has happened is that Amonde has come in now. Amonde has come in for Chisanga. Obviously, I mean, there's a bit need for a bit more experience. With a 1-point game, you need every right decision. The other change that has come in has been Ronnie Mwenesi coming in for Oliver Mangeni. Essentially tactical, because I mean Oliver Mangeni is a line-out sort of guy, but this Ronnie Mwenesi brings a lot more to the pack. He's the sort of guy who can easily play back row and at the level. So I think the team has just strengthened a bit. I mean, there's a notch that we will now see in the forwards play. Now, the other thing that needs to happen, I mean, we had 2 visits to the Zimbabwean 22, and we came out with nothing. That really, or ideally, should not happen, because what ended up happening was that we lost the ball in contact or through the 2 turnovers, and one of them was almost a try on the other side from the kick.
And the defense there was spot on again.
Yes.
One Zimbabwean player against, was it 5 Kenyan players? Is it something of the defense that maybe you would want to see in this team?
No, that was actually quite good defense, and it just shows how much fitter the team is, because I mean 5 people went back in defense, and that's what you want to see from your team. Now, if you can see just a bit more consolidation of some of these waves of attack, then I think we are going to see a bit of a change in the scoreline. But we seem to be just going through the motion, and we need to be penetrative and make the penetration count. And there is another turnover. That's the type of thing I was talking about. You attack wave after wave after wave, then you give away the ball. Yeah, maybe that's a clever thing to do now and play for the territory. Give your forwards a breather and now see them after they've sucked in some breath. Fourth visit to the 22. We need to make this count. I know it's a Zimbabwean ball, but pressure on the ball and make it a bit messy, disruptive, and then just see if we can come up with a score right here.
The momentum that Kenya started with, I think they're keeping up with the 4 visits into the Zimbabwean half, and again leaving that half without points.
Yeah, let's just hope that what will happen eventually is that I seem to see like the Zimbabwe energy is also flagging. I'm just hoping that that is an indication that we are slightly fitter than they are, and so if we could rack up the intensity a bit and come up with some points, I don't think they'll be able to recover. Unfortunately, though, should they be the ones to score, then I think it's going to be trouble time.
Zimbabwe also making changes in their team.
Yep, he's called not straight.
At this particular moment, what would you predict as a final score? Maybe not the numbers, but which team actually lifts the Africa?
I think Kenya will get away with this. I think Kenya will finally take off with this. Because, I mean, I haven't seen enough from Zimbabwe in this half to suggest that they are very keen to win. And you can see Kenya now has increased, even on the scrum downs, now we are taking them back. But like I said, the important thing is that they need to score and make those first-time tackles. Those first-time tackles must count.
Funameno spontané, lany amin'zareo Zimbabweanina ihany. Masiza mamety amin'ny sisiny aty dia lasa titra be dia mianjery any Mandoma larana fahenina amby folo iny mele spontané voaka amin'ny Masiza dia iny le larana Tsamala larana faharoapolo voniditra teo any amin'ny Tsamala ihany mbola tsy mianjery aloha zay vao mianjery funameno spontané Masiza dia mpilalao Zimbabweanina anankiroa miadiny baolina namana nesta dia miverina mihitsy zany. Masiza body pisnetikelo aloha Ziglara ty aloha ty faharoa folo mitady anipy ay larana fahafito
ahoana le asa metry
kito larana fahafito somary mampisy suspense zany namana nesta satria dia efa mpilalao Zimbabweanina anankiroa efa tany naty amin'ny
le 5 mètres le 5 mètres ka
tany ivelan'ny ambony zany netina niditra
patia mbola
mazava zany atao
am'sanje zelo izy ihany mètre niditra taminaty andry ry Kenya ihany napiditra le baolina taminaty andry
zany nanindry tomo
dia izy ihany nanindry azy tao dia mele 5 mètres ho an'ny Zimbabweanina
i Kito le 3e ligne teo somary saika adifitra teo namana nesta zany teknika zany zao dia hita mihitsy lay Rose Boyd lay disiny zareo Zimbabweanina reto fa hitany fa le défense en ligne le charge plat zany ataon'le Kenyana tsy afahana mitsofoka mihitsy dia zay nanaovana an'ilay taka kely akoatra oatra zany anerina ny défense ary hitatsika fa saika naomby izy teo Ziglara dia fa teo akaiky teo namana nesta lay 3 quart centre larana faharoa folo reto Zimbabweanina reto fa dia avitry Kito tamin'ny farany aminy moa zany na dia mbola tsy tena avitra tanteraka ary zareo satria dia mbola mele introduction an'ny Zimbabwe ihany a 12 trany I Kenya 14 Zimbabwe ty mola ifanafiana teo zany Masiza de any amin'ny bod Rose bod pisnet kely aloha de reo fa taraiky daholo le défense à plat andranao Kenianina de iny le izy teo mbola tsy anaty ambu mbola tsy anaty ambu de larana fafito mandakan'le baolina larana fafito Kito saika fotsy atao amin'ny Kito fa dia zay na tonga an'ilay melia 5 mètres teo nazava le izy teo de lasa any Masiza any de any amin'ny Siglara de tsy navita somary milona ihany zany fa azona atao sauteny zany de bod de mandeha manao tritra be ao asa mety isy droby eo ngamana mahady tsy tavavoaka tsara aloha zany koropaka iza mahava pénalité manina
placage tsy miva ihany zany tsy nama placage ndray zareo Kenianina tam'le Zimbabweanina plaqué tao dia pénalité ny Tino Mariana namana izy tao raha minjera le mpilalao mitondra baolina plaqué anao ka tsy vahanao de mazava ho azy fa tsy miaina ntsony le baolina fa tsy maintsy maty eo le baolina noho izany dia faute na tsy azo atao zany mitazona mpilalao zay plaqué matory amin'ny tany fa tsy maintsy vahanao izy mba azahoany le baolina miaina tsara
ya dia hoana ho tsaraina ity pénalité ty sa
tsaraina mba tsy moramora
tamboira
efa fotoana naharitra Zimbabweanina mitaty amin'ny tany zareo Kenianina fa tsy nentina faty baolina mihitsy
tao anatin'ny Kenya zao mbola tsy de nandeha firy zay ny teneniko teo domination stérile ny andrareo Zimbabwe fa ity moa zany afaka manokatra nisy izy amin'ity fizaram-potoana faharoa ty amin'ny alalan'ny tamboira raha maty ty namana nesta lasa nidakany tamboira ary de matsy Tunombe fulu Kenya 17 kosa Zimbabwe aty amin'ny minitra fa 13 any fa 14 minitra noany zay vao vaky ny atody tamin'ity fizaram-potoana faharoa ty ary de zareo Zimbabweanina moa namaky zany atody zany nahazo lisa telo voalohany tamin'ity fizaram-potoana faharoa ity zay mariana ihany fa dia nanao famaranana goavana tokoa ity atetsika ity eo amin'ny Zimbabwe any amin'ny Ferreira aloha iny Ferreira pisnet kely aloha ao iza mahazo amin'ny baolina zany
Kenianina
kopondo de le koavambe any amin'ny Njunguna menjero de any amin'ny tele Andola de Verna sens contraire de fotsina ihany Mosela menjera aloha izy Kenya manafika trany Andola
tsy afaka manome voatazona tany-tanana
le 3 central le 12 zareo Zimbabweanina ty namana nesta le Siglara ty fa dia verina aloha le Kenya de fa misy tanana mipetraka zany fa misy avantage de oetiny hotenao ankerinao ihany aloha fa petraka ihany ny tananjalo rainy tsy avantage kopondo zany ngeza be zany manao ankeriny zany manosika zareo Kenya tsaky voaka
eo ihany
ya mbola tsy tapitra aloha le avantage mbola ny zareo Kenya ihany verina aloha asa itsoka kiroka amizay ka mandrapo tsara fa ohatrantsotavoka boaty
miaina aloha ka
manosika menjero déchet raha menjero anaty ambu raha vo menjera déchet ady mioraka mipijery baolina mamasina mibika ave zany namana mesina fa maka Kenya eto mamasina de mieritreritra ihany ko fa hoe Zimbabwe anala vela amin'ny Zimbabwe tsika amin'ny heritaona anina amiby
ya mety zay namana izy teo maninona moa zany alao mba hojerevana kelinay
lany manala vety
mba alao mahasorona ny vela fa tsy araikitra eo raha Zimbabwe manao amintsika efa hita ihany keo hita mimpalazatra nanarenana ny lalao zay nona tamintsika Zimbabweanina ka zay faharoa amin'reto ny manao amintsika ka raha Zimbabwe zany faharoa eto dia manala vela amin'ny Zimbabwe tsika tsy maninona zany namana izy teo
arak'izay teny aminay sinesta zay moa raha tsy miova ny fitsipidalao zany ny règlement de compétition zany ka voatazona ihany le 1 contre 4 2 contre 3 namana nesta de zay le izy fa io mbola tsy fantatritsika namana nesta fa hatram'izay aloha de sala am'izay foana ny croisement na hoan'ny AIB zany na hoan'ny AA zany 1 contre 4 le vao miakatra zany manao am'le champion avetrany ary lay tsy nietsika atao amin'ny toerany kosa reny mifandona zany namana nesta i asa yandola itia tsapany tia but après c'est namana nesta eo fatrombolo metra mo mipetraky sa bol zany lasa nidakany yandola ary dia maty 2 Kenya 7 kosa Zimbabwe amin'ny tena famaranana fedina ny tondakany Afrika taona 2024 atao eto Madagasikara ity any amin'ny 7 minitra maherano any misy an'izany essai collectif tonga ny Kenya tamin'ny alalana groupe pénétrant zany namana nesta lasa nidakany Tambera coup d'envoi ambony dia ambony tokoa larana 20 mahazo ampoly zany.
Well, that's right. Kenya leads 22-17 against Zimbabwe, and Fred Laws will once again keep us up to date. What happened in the last 5 minutes?
I mean, what should have been happening right through? Just control the ball with the forwards. I think we have got better forwards than they do, and just execute. That's all that's happening. That's 5 times into the 22 and 1 score.
For the first time, Zimbabwe went ahead 17-15. What was our weakness at that particular moment?
No, I mean, it's still the offside line. I mean, it's the breakdown discipline, the collision discipline. And the point to note is that Zimbabwe went in, scored, but one of the things that it tells you is this: we are keen about this, we want this. I mean, the response was immediate, and that's what we should be doing when we are leading, you know?
That's right. Kenya leads Zimbabwe 22-17 in Madagascar, where the Confederations of African Rugby Division 1A match is currently underway. Coming to you live, courtesy of NTV, and we are streaming this match also live on our YouTube channel, so Kenyans across the globe can actually follow the action from Madagascar via NTV.
One more thing that has happened there. I mean, every time the weak moments in a team's play are typically after kickoff. What is happening is that we have scored, but then suddenly we're under pressure. Rather than controlling the game, cooling it off, and sending the ball back there for territory.
Is it maybe the response from the Zimbabwe side? Is their response maybe looks to be better than ours?
Not really, not really. I mean, this half, Zimbabwe haven't been in this game, save for the penalty that they have got. It's just that we Kenyans are not executing our chances. There's Andrew, very passionate about things.
So the changes, you can say, are actually making things maybe tweak a notch higher.
Yes, that's for sure. In the forwards, I mean, you can see that the forwards play is a bit more cohesive now, and oh, the game has suddenly become so loose.
Kenyan mazava loatra fa nanao anavao izy ary dia mampiditra ny mpilalao tapitra ny lalao daholo namana nesta ny mpiandro toerana ho an'ny zareo Zimbabwe ary tena lana le mpilalao farana 12 Ziglara zay tena enjana tokoa na miplakazy na fitonana baolina niditra kosa i Magundre zany miditra ho an'ny Zimbabwe dia miala i Ziglara. Vareraka koa inga Ziglara satria dia nanao 20 minitra ihany koa iny tamin'ny tamin'ny Malagasy so navita 30 minitra zao ihany koa dia lasa any amin'ny encontre fototany amin'ny encontre le baolina dia any amin'ny amondena arina 20 zareo Kenyan mille spontané oteno dia any amin'ny Kangete iny Kangete manao itsindarana be dia miorako mamasina Kopondo avana dikoavana tokoa zany mille spontané any amin'ny zareo Kenyanina ihany Oteno mahazo baolina dia any amin'ny Kangete hoay tsy natsindosy aloha Kangete efa mivoaka tosy ihany koa Kangete jamesindy voaka tosy ny tombotro Kangete dia mampiatra ny be amin'ny fotsiny namana lesy dia Kangete fa tsy mivily fa somary kasaka matiny kosa aloha matiny Kangete jamesindy satria le anankiray Kangete Joseph
sika mady mifaty mivoaka tosy ny tongony teo dia miemika aty amin'ny 5 mètres aty ny tosy zany hoe le tosy teo eo amin'ny atsasametatra miala amin'ny ligne de but eo fa tsy azo atao eo amin'ny tosy namana izy dolo fa tsy maintsy à 5 mètres amin'ny ligne de but
mandio mah larana fahenina amby folo talonarao équipe ny Zimbabwe reto no nipy izany tosy zany aliment complet izy rehetra ny ao telo enina fito ny ao anaty aliment eo da tia ratsy zany tsisy neniny zany tsara
nanao en avant Zimbabwe dia nanao en avant Kenya
matoky tena loatra namana nest ilay Zimbabwe am'le manao tosy 5 mètres reny dia aty amin'ny zone 1 zany hoe aty amin'ilay sauteur voalohany premier sauteur ny atao zany risque be iny rehefa 5 mètres sana am'ireny fa ny tena tsara namana nest dia tsy lavitra be mihitsy le izy dia mivoaka ny 15 mètres mihitsy dia akaikely namana satria 10 metatra ny larina fahafolonao niny ny adversaire kosa
10 metatra
dia azo antoka fa azo le baolina namana nest iny moa zany dia zay le hoe fantokisa-teny dia lasa mandeha tosika be andrareo Kenyana avoakanao tenao baolina sa tsy avoaka mbola tazomin'ny 600 ihany aloha dia any amin'ny ataony Oteno dia rakotra Oteno aloha ahoana ta avoaka hoe baolina sa tsy tavavoaka na ta avoaka andrareo Kenyana mbola any andrareo Kenyana ihany dia lasa aloha manao pick and go
amonde tonga ao anaty amila kely
amonde tena mitady titre mihitsy reto Kenyana reto namana nest
ya efa tonga tao anaty amby le baolina fa tsy voatsindry araka ny fanazavantsika azy moa dia rehefa tonga anaty amby ny baolina iny dia mila voatsindry amin'ny tany mihitsy izay vao azo kely ny isaka teto izy zany tonga tao fa tsy voatsindry tamin'ny tany fa miantona teo ambony pilalao dia mairie à 5 mètres ho an'ny Kenya ihany satria izy nitondra an'le baolina tao anaty amby tao fa tsy voatsindry ny baolina
introduction amin'ny alalan'ny Oteno mêlée à 5 mètres ho an'ny Kenya mêlée tsara fipetraka tokoa an'ny Kenya dia azo ny tsisy olana angamba ny nest aloha dia baolina ty satria dia résiste tsara le mêlée dia tazomin'ny 600 ihany dia reto 600 minutes dia miembotra le mêlée ho andrareo Zimbabweanina pénalité tsy mivoaka zany dia fa mavertiry encombe dia lasa baolina traka pilalao Zimbabwe tsy azoko zany namana
verina mêlée le baolina tsy azoko aloha le fanapahan-kevitry mitsara namana izy dolo fa mêlée izy teo an'ny Kenya dia mangoso dia verina ho mêlée ihany
raha nao fahatsony Kenya ohatra hoe traka namana nest dia pénalité
raha nanao
Zimbabwe dia pénalité
raha misy nanao en avant dia mêlée le atao tsy Zimbabweana nanao baolina teo
dia mitongotry 600 aty le baolina dia zay aloha fanapahan-kevitry ny Laurence dia introduction amin'ny alalan'ny Oteno ihany
ya dia mêlée à 5 mètres ho an'ny Kenya ihany zany Oteno ny anipon'ny baolina lasa ny introduction dia hoentin'le 3e ligne centre na le kaly ihany aloha zany
dia izy
zany manao foana
larana faraiky ambe folona azy Brian
efa saika andray baolina le demi dia tsy nandray
ya larana faraiky ambe folona reny napetra ny centre aloha tamin'iny
ya dia avantage moa zany
tsisy anavant zany fanarery dia mianjery malamy Mose ihany Mose atrany dia tsy mianjery aloha izy
tonga ny namany
tonga ny namany dia fa amin'ny tsipika manasaky ny kianja aty dia tsy tavavoaka aloha zao hoe productif aloha zao namana nesta raha fahitana azy productif aloha io
dia mivadika mêlée spontané
dia lasa andrareo Zimbabweanina
vadika any amin'ny Zimbabweanina mivoaka ny baolina ho Zimbabwe
Rose troisième ligne zany ady any koa zareo Kenyana azefi any amin'ny Angola mate osatra fitambaty Kenya fitambaty kosa Zimbabwe aty amin'ny 30 minitra ny namana nesta dia mitana Fafana aloha zareo Zimbabweanina, faly kosa zareo Kenianina zay mila n'ity titre ty mafy mihitsy namana nesta ary tsy nanao kajikajy hoe na iza hitona aminy amin'ny fanasa dalana anina miby ataona efatra amby folo sy roarivo amin'ny Afrika eo amin'ny groupe AA sady nanao fanitsanana ihany koa eran-tany amin'ny taona 2020 faritra Afrika fa dia iny Yazevi laharana fa efatra amby folo tsara dia tsara le fixation Mose laharana fa 2 amby folo Mose laharana fa 2 amby folo dia eo moa izy dia somary tongony mihitsy mipointeny fixe tsara mihitsy dia taraiky tao zany dia fixation zany namana mesta faseo any amin'ny asekoly mihitsy zany fixation zany ary dia naindry fotsomoany desivany Kenya fitombopolo ary fitombopolo Kenya azy mbola nanao ny tentative de but après essai makabahana tsara lasa ny takabolina ary dia maty 7 amby roapolo no 7 amby folo 7 amby roapolo Kenya 7 amby folo kosa i Zimbabwe namana nesta efa mandeha tsikelikely makany Nairobi Kenya ity amboara ity ary dia mety hoentina amin'ny stade RF Stadium zany ao Nairobi ity amboara ity namana nesta satria ny fédération ny Kenianina ny taranjarivo moa dia manana kianja manokana izy hoe RF Stadium izay nanatono makino Madagasikara tany tamin'ny taona 5 sy 10
Azatsy kosa amin'ny Zimbabwe
efa mivoaka tosy zany manao foana
efa mivoaka tosy
tena tsara indrindra ho an'ilay mpilalao Zimbabweanina ne namana nesta dia tonga tena ndeta ty amin'ny tosy
fa tsy mbola namerina baolina tany iray
sala amin'ireny raha saika esena iny namana nesta
efa lasa manao mpitontolo e
Zimbabwe namana nesta asa taky iavy zany nanao taromakia angamba namana nesta
ka tsy moramora koa ingany nandresim-makia aloha
tsy dia hita fotsiny sa araka le tenitsika teo ihany hoe mikajikajy zany moa tsy fantany zay namana nesta tsy miloka amin'ny mahalalan'izay hoe nisy hoe zay kajikajy zay sa tena zo mihitsy ny endrikanareto Zimbabweanina reto rehefa mifanehitra amin'ny samy goavana ohatra anazy zao izy dia sala amin'izao ny lalaoandry
nefa eto aloha zany dia mivokatra no hitantsika namana izatora
mivokatra no hita fa dia efa mandeha makany Nairobi Kenya ty namana nesta
efa minitra vitsy isa dia ho tapotra ny lalao
any andreo Kenianina ny baolina
efa nisika zao
tsy manao dropon-dola
nefa soronandro ray any ratsy ny tongotra fa difitra
difitra Yazevi laharana fa efatra amby folo dia tosy ny baolina
Well, I'm very excited. Fred Oloz here in the studio. Fred, remarkable performance from the Kenyan team.
No, certainly. I mean, you can see the conditioning is beginning to show. And I had one tweet from William Bisi that we are now making enforced errors and we need to lift concentration. As soon as the guys lifted concentration, as soon as they were keen enough and they were interested, we went and scored. And one pointer is just how we reacted when they scored. That's what tells you where mentally we are. But we need to still become more efficient.
You called it Kenyan
I mean, this one is done.
And you also noted that the Zimbabwe players were actually had heavy breathing earlier when we had possession.
Yes, I mean, typically what the more experienced guys look at now, you just look at the chest action. And it's over.
It's over. So
yeah, I was saying that you just look at the chest action after every contact phase, after every collision phase, and look at how the people are breathing, and you can tell.
And it's so Kenya wins the Africa Cup 29-17 against Zimbabwe. Emphatic win.
And my point is that from now they need to blow themselves apart and just start preparing for next year.
Okay, let's just go back and say that's actually the Kenya Rugby Union chairman, Mwangi Muthee, receiving his congratulations from his
contemporaries.
Yes, indeed. And I can see Richard Omwela there. This is the former chairman as well.
Yeah, he's in the car executive as well. So
indeed,
he's there officially.
So the remarkable performance there from the national 15s team, Kenya beating Zimbabwe 29-17, and emphatically I have to add that from Fred Oloz here, and you can see the reaction from the players once that whistle went.
I tell you, this is big. This is big. You know, one of the things that those of us who have been in the game for quite a while enjoy is whenever we beat these traditional sort of rugby nations. I mean, there was a bit of a discussion about whether we shouldn't just throw this game away and hope to avoid Namibia. I can't just agree with that kind of thinking. You know, I told you earlier on, this is the game made in heaven, and it's a game played there as well. So we cannot be doing mediocre things. Let's prepare. If we believe in ourselves, if we want this enough, we must do what it takes. And we have a year, so why not?
So what you're saying is that this is fruits of what the rugby union, maybe taking the team to Western Province, bringing in Jerome Power Waters to the squad, also bringing in new players into the team. Some of the players I'm sure you worked with back when you were in the union. No, I mean, I was just in the union up to the end of the year, so many of these guys, I've seen them right through their school rugby, the front row. I mean, Kopondo, I was his first coach, who's the captain right now. I can count amongst, you know, Kenya captains a person I've coached. So I've known these players for a long time. And the thing is, so long as the union gets rid of the usual distractors of developed world rugby, I mean, a number of my friends like saying the developing world rugby, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. There's just need to go back and sort out the strength and conditioning and plan it properly. Right now, the team is due a break, and they must get the break. But when the action starts, it's a 1 year full of action, up to the point where we meet Namibia. Now, the interaction on Twitter has been plenty with very seasoned fans, let me call them that. Actually, some of them are former players indeed. And to that Kenyan that really does not follow 15s rugby, maybe you can tell us, what is the importance of this Division 1A title that Kenya just won?
This is big. This is big. It's just that, you know, in Kenya we tend not to celebrate our heroes well enough. You must remember one thing, and that's part of the reason why a lot of the celebrities come to Kenya, because, you know, you can just walk and nobody cares. But I think we need to get behind this kind of win. And, you know, whenever there's no version of rugby that defines team play like 15s. This is the game they say that is for all shapes and sizes, and it's also got very many facets. I mean, you'll have the big slowish guys, you'll have the quick guys right at the wing. We need to get behind these guys so that they can only get better, and it's beginning to happen because Miga has come in with 15 million. There's a number of deals that are cooking. I can assure you that we are going to, you know, get better in this 15s game, and the country is going to love this. Remember that the top performing ball sport in Kenya, the top performing ball sport in Kenya is rugby sevens, and the second best male ball sport is rugby 15s. So Kenya needs to worry about, you know, where its successes are coming from. Okay, but I am going to say that, I mean, Kenya winning the Africa Cup of the Confederation of Africa Rugby, very big.
Is this what the union has been really campaigning for, getting the 15s team to the level of the sevens team, probably even higher?
I need to tell you something about 15s rugby. The effort required to improve this is many levels higher than sevens because of just the sheer numbers. A 15s team has 22 people. Even just from a human resource management point of view, it is much more involving. And but with it comes a lot of fulfillment. You could see all manner of things happening, all manner of intensity. I am totally excited by this win, and to beat Zimbabwe, perfect.
Well, indeed, I'll just read a few of the messages coming through for the team, and this was actually that Godwin Karuga says that, I mean, really Ombisi is saying that we must skip the vision 2 games of to the RWC. That means now we have to play in next year's CAR Division 1, which we have already qualified for. And from that point, we are going to the, if we were to win that, it's going all the way to the World Cup. And
I like this comment by Sami Muraya. Great to see the confidence. You know, winning is a habit. And once you start it, it just doesn't stop.
And of course, there's someone also asking why we should not bid to host the 1A.
We already are bidding. I know for a fact that the Kenya Rugby Union, when Mwangi left, he left with a letter that says, we are ready to do this. But let me assure you that all the 4 nations are going to be bidding to host this. And
William Biss is actually noting the home advantage will actually do Kenya proud.
No,
and
absolutely.
And the Kenyan fans who really are obsessed with the sevens rugby can also get a chance to follow 15s rugby, which is equally exciting and interesting.
Yes, the point is this, like I was saying earlier on, everybody will be wanting to host this. That's for sure. The only people I'm sure will not be given the right to host is Namibia, simply because they didn't come to Nairobi in 2011. But everybody else will be coming for this. And but Kenya is a great host environment. I think we should go for it, and the whole country needs to be behind that whole bid.
Let me just read something here from Geoffrey, who says, tumeshinda kikombe, and he does his Kemboi dance. Neville Mushai here, congratulations to the Kenya 15s team, emphatic game it has been. This is Kenya. Galgala Mohammed says, proud of our Shujaa. I think he means the Lions, that's the African champions, and we are a step closer, actually 2 matches closer to actually qualifying for the Rugby World Cup. Well, it has been a live match between Zimbabwe and Kenya, which Kenya actually won the Confederations of African Rugby. That's the African Cup, after beating Zimbabwe 29-17. An emphatic performance from the Jerome Power Waters Chargers. And I will be wrapping this up. And thank you for your feedback on our social network, and hopefully we will be reading some of them in our later bulletins. Congratulations to that team that lifts the Africa Cup, and of course Fred Oloz, who has stayed in the studio with us and following that action as the Kenyan team dances in the stadium. Very excited. Mwangi Muthe and Richard Omwela representing CAR there. Well, that's all we had from you from NTV, from NTV, and of course NTV getting the best pieces of sport, bringing them to you for Kenyans to enjoy and actually celebrate that Kenya is actually closer to the Rugby World Cup 15s.